Now, World Sight Day is marked on the second Thursday of October annually. The theme for this year is Love Your Eyes at Work. There's a primary focus on raising awareness about safeguarding vision in the workplace, and also an advice to employers and leaders in the working world to prioritize the eye health of their employees. If you're in the corporate sector or even run a personal business which requires you to constantly redocument or do things that affect your eye, how much attention are you paying to your sight to maintain a good and healthy one? Joining us in the studio to provide more on this is Dr. Augustine Derry, an optometrist with Third Eye Care and Vision Center. Thank you so much, Doc.
Hi, thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
And before we talk about, the solutions to the many eye problems we get as a result of the work that we do, top of your head, what jobs do you think expose people's eyes the most to danger?
That's quite an interesting question because, there are lots of jobs flying up in my head. Different sorts of jobs give different kinds of exposure and different kinds of problems. There are some jobs that seem like they are high risk, like those in the mining sites, those at the sawmills and all. But have you also considered those that look serene, nothing flying, but radiations moving around? Right. Yeah, so it's a bit of a difficulty. Depends on the target site of injury that we are looking at. So, yeah.
So basically, everybody who works is at risk of having a problem with their eye. So whether you are looking at the screen 24/7, or whether you are chipping at stones or welding,
or cooking or welding,
or even cooking. So I just wanted us to establish the fact that we are all at risk. And so everybody needs to pay attention. But let's narrow the conversation to the workplace and the fact that people must pay attention to their eyes.
Well, when reason why this year we are looking at the workplaces, that we realize that people spend most of their time, their living time, at work, trying to make a living. And if there are injuries that are going to occur, a lot of them will occur at the workplace. And usually because we are focused on tasks, we do not give our mind to maybe the various hazards and dangers that may be around. So just as we do every year, World Sight Day, which was instituted to actually help sensitize us on preventing blindness, avoidable causes of blindness. This year, we are really looking at the eye. We want to look at what employers can do, what employees can do, what we can collectively do to ensure eye health safety at the workplace.
Now, that's the big question. What do we do?
Good. So if you look at employers, for example, employers have a big burden. If you employ someone, it's your responsibility to also make sure that the working environment of the person is safe, is serene, is conducive for the work that he's doing. You need to also make sure that every hazard is taken care of. What I usually recommend for employers, number one, make sure that we have enough training for the people regarding eye health and eye care, specific to the place that you work, specific to your job. There are eye doctors around that can help out with this occupational optometry, ophthalmologists there. We can help you, advise you on what to do at your workplaces, the do's and don'ts. So you get us there, and also occupational safety experts. After that, another thing I advise employers to do is to have a sort of, should I say, a policy-like document, something that you run through concerning eye health. Make sure that you have PPEs, personal protective equipment. So depending on what work you do or what firm you run, goggles, spectacles, goggles, the environment, any other. There are sometimes you need face shields and not, the usual goggles. Other times you even need what we call the respirators. Of course, that will not be common. That one is the one that, you cover the whole face.
Entire face.
Yes, because if you are going to a place where there's lots of dust, lots of chemicals, you would need to just cover everything, make sure that the person is healthy. And then you make sure that every employee knows where these things are. So, and then put in something like maybe a first aid box or something.
Right.
So whenever anything happens, we know exactly where the things are. Then training on what to do when any hazard occurs at work. We should all be on the same page regarding what should be done. So if someone has, say, in a sawmill or in some metal work factory, this example will be a bit
Graphic.
Yes, something pierces, like wood pierces the eyeball. What exactly are we going to do? You know, if you don't know what to do, we'll all be shouting in confusion, panicking, and it's not going to help the situation. So you need the experts to help you out in all of those. I'll outline just a few things about that anyway. Following that, you know, the employers. And I think that employers in Ghana, some are really doing well, but others can do better. You can put in, especially if your place is a place where you have high risk particles flying, you are using chemicals, you are, you know, such that the eyes are exposed. Try and get some sort of a package, eye care package for your people. Yes, it will be a very good thing. I mean, it shows that you have concern for the workplace. If there are barriers that you can erect to some of these dangers that fly in, flying particles and all that, do that, and then that will be helpful. Then the employees. As for employees, what I'll say first of all is that the eyes are not in your employer's head. They are in yours. So you'd have to make sure that you own your own eye safety. Make sure that you are responsible for your own eyes. Sometimes employers will provide PPEs and then employees will not wear them. And that becomes a problem. Sometimes the PPEs are there. Even the employers themselves, you're not disciplined. A typical example, I had a man walk in and he had some metal chips, about 1, 2, 3, 4 of them stuck in his eye. Yeah, and we had to remove that. So this was the story. His worker was working. He was walking into the workshop, and he did not wear the goggles. He just thought he was passing through. Somebody was working, did not see him behind, and he was grinding metal. So he just came in as he put on the machine, and then he got a good spray. So that's a very dangerous situation that could have just been avoided by wearing your goggles or wearing whatever protective equipment that you have. Yes, so employees must do well. Then there's a part where we have to both do it. Right. The employer may provide, but he is not using the machine that you are using. He is not experiencing it the way you are. Feedback must be sought. Experts must be brought in as well. So if some of the things that you have are broken or they are expired or they are not in the best of condition, you need to make sure that they are replaced. So there should be someone who would do this reporting or the employee would do that. You should also make sure that, if somebody gets hurt at the place, you should quickly, promptly report. If your tools are not working the way you want, and now I'll zoom into the screens, because for most of us, the corporate setting, we use the screens a lot. Even in the manufacturing setting, most of the things are becoming automated. Right. So screens are becoming more popular. Right.
So I think that we've largely spoken about, the industries, the people who do a lot of the aggressive things that we naturally would expect to worry the eye. Yeah. But for many people who sit in offices and don't do these technical jobs, what is the problem with what we also do and the exposure to our eyes? I'm a journalist. Someone may be, say, an HR executive watching us. What should we know about how we are hurting our eyes at work?
The interesting thing is that, one, the eyes work with light. The kind of light that enters your eye, the kind of light that the ambient lighting around. So you have to have good lighting around. You have to have good lighting from the laptop or the PC or any visual display units that you are using, or it may hurt your eyes. And apart from that, even the angle, say the laptop That's an okay angle.
What I have here is good?
Yes.
Okay.
That's an
What
okay.
about this?
No, that you may be bending a little.
Okay, what about this?
And that's
too much.
Yes,
so
that's
this
too
is just
much. This is just appropriate.
Right.
Just appropriate. Because it should be like this or up to 45 degrees.
Okay.
Thereabouts. Shouldn't be too high, shouldn't be too low as well, or else you end up with other problems apart from your eye problem, the back.
Right.
And you know, from these screens, we have a lot of what we call the blue light.
Blue light, yes.
That comes out. Blue light, from studies, they show that they can make you uncomfortable. They actually affect your productivity at work. Imagine you're a banker. Blue light is high energy light, and it gets into the eye, can give you eye fatigue quickly. You are typing in 80 what, and you're a banker and you get tired. You just type in a lot of different things. So whilst employers may think that it's not too important, it may cost you quite.
So in that scenario, how do I protect my eyes from the blue light? And also if I'm in an office space that doesn't have, good lighting, and maybe my employers are not willing to, or they don't even have the knowledge to say that, the lighting is not too good for our eyes. How do I take the personal initiative?
If your employer is around, you should call him to come and listen to us. He needs to have good lighting for you. He can't be paying you and giving you a problem in the end. That's not fair. Right. So if you have the screens, one of the things you can do is you can get blue light protective glasses just to help you feel better when you are using the laptop. In fact, you should actually check your eyes, because there's some of the problems that are not because of the blue light, but because your eyes actually are straining. So when we check your eyes, we tell you, your eyes are fine, but maybe you need blue light for protection because you are at the PC a lot. That's fine. Number two, something as little as even the environment, like the AC, can affect your eyes and your productivity. Yes. If the place, I like that look. If the place, say, it's very cold, chilled, you realize that your eyes start to burn. They start to dry out. Dry eyes, fatigue. They also cause loss of productivity in the office. That's one. Back to the screen. Apart from the blue light, luckily, we have a lot of these screens that now are programmed. You can change the settings. There are some they call eye care, some call blue light.
Even for the phones, you can, dim it a bit in the night for night vision and all that.
Yes. But if you find yourself dimming the light a lot and more than your colleagues, please, it's not normal.
You have to get your eyes checked.
You have to get checked.
How often should we check? Go to see you for a checkup.
I hear this every time, and it's a good question. I'm glad it's asked. You should see your optometrist every year if possible, just to check. Not because you have a problem. Maybe if someone talk about glasses are usually changed maybe after at most every 2 years. Right. But every year, especially for those between like 20 to 50 years thereabouts, every year is good. Sorry, let me take that again. 20 to 50 every year, but if you do 2 years, that's fine. But the younger ones should even do the every year more. Now, what a lot of people do not know is that for the younger people, those the babies, in Ghana, we feel like babies are aliens to eye clinics.
Right.
Yes, a baby cannot. No, you should check your baby. Within the first 6 months of life, you should have had an eye exam for your child.
Hey.
Yes.
First what?
6 months.
6 months?
Yes, it's very important because there are a lot of problems that are developmental. The child may not have been born with it. But because you did not do certain things right, certain problems or the development doesn't go very well. So the first 6 months, we should see your child, then we say, okay, everything looks fine. Then later, every year just pass by, and that's fine. And then if you are in the older, or let me say the senior citizens, they should also do well because a stitch in time will save 9 other stitches, from occurring. So that's very important. You should make sure that you are checking your eyes often.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the insights. Dr. Augustine Derry is an optometrist with the Third Eye Care and Vision Center. And you should pay him a visit, honestly, because for those of you who think that you're not so vulnerable, we've learned a lot today, even about how your air condition or the light in your office can affect your eyes. And so you just want to keep your eyes safe. And I heard someone say that, for other conditions, sometimes there are ways around it, but Do we do eye transplants?
That's
extreme.
That's very extreme.
So the eye is very important.
Well, we do some parts transplants, like the cornea. The cornea is a transparent in front of the dark.
Right.
Yeah, we do corneal transplant.
But basically, the eye is very precious, and you need to protect it.
The eye takes the majority of the brain. It takes like majority of the brain processing is from the eye, like eye to brain.
Wow.
And they're about the optic nerve here, optic nerve there. There are cables, about 1.5 million fibers from this eye, from that eye. How are we going to transplant that? We can't even connect them one to the other. That's
a big deal.
So you should take care of your eyes.
Yes, and so you need to see Doc for more information. Thank you so much, Doc, for staying and giving us all these insights.